When you say it's just on one side of the line to not prosecute, give me an example. I mean, how does that work in practice? That somebody's running a medical marijuana dispensary, but in fact they're really dealing drugs. What are the criteria that you use to decide that?
Well, first of all, it's a law enforcement decision, so they will bring us a case. We decide to file the case based on what the current state of the law is. There are attorney general opinions and case law that tell us that storefront dispensaries, if they are in a for-profit model, are illegal, generally speaking. A collaborative model, meaning nobody's making any money, but they simply are exchanging various services and or supplies in order to further the goal of giving medicinal marijuana to various patients that need it, that can be legal under state law. The problem is the analysis is complicated each and every time. It's on a case-by-case basis. And certainly as a district attorney who is allocating resources to these various ways to fight crime, clarity is very important. The murder law, the gang law, these laws are very, very clear. We know it's legal, we know what's illegal. Medical marijuana has been a gray area for a long time now, and so it is at times difficult.
Under what circumstances would you try youthful offenders as adults?
The process of analyzing whether we charge a youthful offender as an adult, along with the process of deciding whether we're going to ask for the death penalty in some adult crime, some adult murder, those are the two weightiest, the two most significant decisions you can be involved in as a district attorney. And so we do that by committee. We have a process by which we go through a case-by-case analysis. It's not a policy of if you're 16 or over, you get charged, and if you're 16 or under, you don't. It is a case-by-case analysis based on that individual, that potential defendant's record, their likelihood of success in the future, their likelihood of doing something very violent in the future, and how hard a line do we need to take on that individual. I mean, the bottom line is if we feel we can change them and show them a better way, as I was saying earlier, that's the direction we should go. But our first obligation is public safety. It's to keep your kids and mine safe. And with that in mind, at times, on rare occasions, we need to charge youthful offenders as adults and go after them as adults because they've committed very adult crimes with very adult consequences.
Who's on that committee, and how does that process work?
That's a great question. Usually the way it works is that there will be an individual who is a gang deputy or a deputy who has a case. Many of these are gang cases, as you know, or a deputy district attorney who has a case who's considering at the filing stage charging an individual directly as an adult. That's brought to a manager, myself, or somebody else on the management team, and those two individuals, along with a third deputy district attorney, a senior deputy, will analyze those cases and decide whether or not that person's going to be charged as an adult. Ultimately, that decision rests with the elected district attorney. He or she makes that decision in the end.
Have you ever prosecuted someone who got the death penalty?
Yes.
What was that like?
Well, it's interesting. The two cases that I've done in which the death penalty was sought were cases that were assigned to me. In other words, I didn't make that decision. I have made the decision in other cases as a manager since then. And it's a very weighty decision. I can tell you that is one of the few areas that a district attorney gets into both the moral and social aspect of crime as opposed to simply whether something's legal or illegal. And asking a jury to levy that penalty on a defendant is a very big issue for a district attorney. The night before when you're preparing that argument, there's a lot that goes through your head, and it's not an easy thing to do, and you have to believe in your heart that that is the right consequence in order for you to be able to ask a jury to do that.
Has California's three-strike law been a success or a failure?
I think in Santa Barbara County it's been a great success. The two strikes part of that law, which enhances the second serious felony that somebody commits, has been a great benefit to law enforcement in the community. It's taken people who are becoming career offenders and put them in prison for much longer than we probably could have otherwise after they keep committing serious crimes. The three strikes part of the law is used very sparingly in Santa Barbara County. It has been arguably abused in other counties. I think in Santa Barbara we have taken a very narrow line as to when we charge somebody with three strikes and potentially end their life on the street. It's another decision that is made by committee. It's made by a process on a case-by-case basis. I've been involved in that process for years, and it's very, very important that we get it right.
We got about 30 seconds left. I have one more question. What's the biggest mistake that you ever made as a prosecutor?
Oh boy, biggest mistake? That's a great question that I ever made. Probably getting an argument with somebody out in the hallway instead of taking care of business calmly in court. I think I've probably done that once or twice, and Other than that, I've tried very, very hard to keep my passion in check. I love what I do. I believe in it very, very much. And as prosecutors, we feel really good as lawyers going home every night knowing we're doing a service to the community.
Well, Josh Lynn, thank you very much for being with us.
Thank
Candidate
you.
for District Attorney. He's the Chief Trial Deputy of the District Attorney's office now. And the election's June 8th. You can get your mail-in ballot now, and don't forget to vote.
Thanks
very
much. Appreciate it.